Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 206 of Photo Critiques. And in this episode, I'm pleased to critique the work of Omar Ben Mustapha. Omar sent me in some really interesting images. This first one of the dogs, really cute shot. I like that you got the entire dog in the frame. We are a little tight up here, a little tight there though. Maybe just give a little more space on those shots. It looks like you cropped it, so maybe you could open your crop up just a little bit, give it a little more room. Now, the light was very harsh. You have this wicked side light coming in. So we have this mean shadow over here, and the left side of the dog's face, the right as we look at it, is kind of in shadow. And the eyes are kind of dark. What you'd really like to do is have this dog more flat lit or 3/4 lit. So you want the sun behind your left shoulder, behind your right shoulder, something like that, so the dog is more evenly lit from the front. And I think it's a more compelling image if you did that. You did great job on focus though, really well done. You focused on the eyes, which I always mention is to focus on the eyes of any animal or person. It was f of 7.1, so you have enough depth of field to really get the entire head in focus, so it's a really nice job. It's an interesting shot. I like that you chose black and white, kind of gives the starkness of the building, and really well done. The kind of bright area here kind of is a leading line. Our eyes tend to look at bright things, and bright things will attract our eye. So you're using the brightness of the doorway and the light coming in from the doorway to help lead us through the shot. So it's really well done. 1/30 of a second, f at 2.8, ISO was 160, so it's really nice. This shot here is cool. I like it. It's a very interesting building, and the beach and the people I like. There was, I don't know, because it was f of 4. There's not like, it's like kind of uniformly not real sharp. I mean, it's sharp because it's artificially sharp. This is from Clarity in Lightroom probably, or another program that has a control like Clarity, and you could see how it made the sea or the lake, whatever this is, real kind of clear in the beach, but it's not. It's kind of artificially clear. It's got not a. It doesn't have a lot of resolution. And what I'm getting at is you should use a smaller f-stop. You don't need the 1/1000th of a second here. There's not a lot of, there's no movement here except for maybe people moving relatively slowly through the beach. So I'd bring this way down, 1/250th of a second, and use a smaller f-stop somewhere around f11, and you'd get a lot more resolute of a shot. This shot too, I could say something similar here. It doesn't look like I don't know, it just doesn't have a lot of resolution. There seems to be just a little blur to it. And now you're better here. You're at f of 8. And there doesn't really seem to be camera movement, so I don't think you like press the shutter too hard and jerk the camera to give it a little blur or anything like that. There's just not a lot of resolution. So I really, it might have been atmospheric conditions. It might have been where you focus though. So there's a lot of different debate on where you should focus when you're taking a landscape. There's the hyperfocal distance. I have articles on my website about this. So you could, calculate the hyperfocal distance with the given aperture you're using and the type of lens you're using, the focal length you're using, and focus at that distance, and theoretically everything should be pretty much in focus in the shot. Or there's another rule that says if you focus 1/3 of the way up in the scene, you'll get most of the shot in focus. There's a lot of arguments against that though, but to tell you the truth, I do that a lot and it works pretty well. So I'm aware of the arguments against it, why it supposedly doesn't work, but I think it works fairly well. So you could, go about 1/3 up into the scene, you'd focus here, and you'd theoretically get the entire scene in focus. So there's different techniques to use, but I would experiment with some of those. I'm wondering where your focal point was in this shot. That's basically my main question, where you focused in this shot. This shot here, the processing's really strong, but it's not overdone. We have really dramatic clouds with some nice colors. The darks are pretty dark though. I'm not sure if your monitor is calibrated, and my monitor is calibrated, so I could see that the darks are very dark. And of course, people watching this video, if your monitor's not calibrated, it might not look right to you, or it might look right to you. But I really think the shadows need to be opened up a little bit more on this shot. And just to add a little more detail in here. See, there's before and there's after, before, after. And you can see we get some more detail in the windows. As you can see, there's kind of metal gratings over these windows, which we couldn't even see before. Before, after. See the metal gratings? Before, after. This too, similar type of shot. Now we have this expansive sky here with really nothing. It's not very interesting. We do have a clump of birds right there. I would clone those out because it just kind of looks like a smudge or dirt. And I mentioned that many times. If you have a very identifiable bird, so there's a bird right here and we could see that it's a bird, leave it. But if you have birds way off in the distance and they look like little specks, they just look like dirt to someone viewing it. And if you get it printed, it's going to look like dirt on the print. So you're going to want to clone that out. So get rid of those. Now, because the sky isn't really overly interesting anyways, I would try to work this scene and try to get it so you're getting less of the sky and more of the stuff that's really interesting in the shot. And again, our shadows are really dark, so you might want to open up the shadows a little bit, give a little more detail in here and in here. You can see there's before and there's after, before, after. Also, we have some vignetting up in here. I don't think that is a true vignette. I'm not sure if lens corrections will do it. No, it's still there. But that might be vignetting and done in post. I'm not sure. As you can see, there's a little vignette there, a little vignette there. This is an interesting shot framing. The gate, though, kind of spoils it. These gates that are here, we should look through, and there should be something super interesting right here that we want to see. And it looks like there could be. There's, some interesting structures here, and we have this stuff in the far distance that's pretty interesting. It's just these darn gates here in the middle are just kind of spoiling the shot. It's a nice shot. I like this. The light was pretty even. She's a little blurry though. It was 1/640th of a second. I can't really zoom in because it's as big as it gets. But you could see, probably want a little blur on this because we want to show some movement, but herself, she just doesn't seem to be tightly focused. So I don't think your focus point was right on her face. So you got to be careful of that. I know she's moving and spinning, and really difficult scene to photograph, but you really got to really try hard to get your focal point right on her eyes and make sure that her eyes are in perfect focus. And I think that your shutter speed was okay. It did show enough movement in here, but I would say that's the maximum. We might want to even go a little slower, 1/500th of a second or something like that, 1/350th of a second, just to show a little more movement in the whatever these things are, scarves or whatever that she's spinning around with. It's an interesting shot, kind of like almost like a protest, with the fire and everything. So it's just kind of an interesting shot. There's not much I really could critique about it. You did a nice job of getting it exposed at all, because it looks like it was a really hard scene. It was at ISO 5000, so really hard scene to photograph. This is a beautiful shot. I like this shot around. The sky looks a little fake, but that's okay. It's just the stars are, you got stars in front of clouds, so that typically isn't normal. So if you added the star field in post, you have to take the time to clone out the stars that are in front of clouds. The cloud should be obscuring the stars, so I would go back in this image and I would clone out that star, these stars, these stars, these stars, anything that's in front of a cloud, because we all know the clouds are in front of the stars. So I would go back and take care of that. Beyond that, it's a very interesting image, but there is kind of another little problem. We have really a high resolution down here, but then we got a lot of noise up in here. So whatever you used to create this star field, it created a lot of noise. So you really got to try to even it out so that we don't have like higher resolution on half of the image and really kind of a lot of noise on half of the image. This is a nice shot too. This is, I don't know if you did some light painting on this to get the lights on this, but whatever it is, you did a nice job. Again, we have stars in front of the clouds, so we want to eliminate that. Take the time to get rid of these stars that are in front of the clouds. And then I think you'd have a winning shot. It would be, too, not to, try. You can photograph stars. You could actually get the shot with the stars. You'd have to do some different things at 30 seconds. Actually, these stars will start to trail a little bit. You'll get some lines, but it would be a really interesting shot because I recently took a shot of downtown Buffalo, and it was a 30-second exposure, and the stars had definite lines in them. So it is a different kind of effect, but it does work, and it is, it's pretty cool. It's a nice shot. I like this a lot. Again, it's not super. It's like artificially, like crisp and like a little too much clarity. So I'd back clarity down. I'd also question again where you're focusing. So we really try to focus at the hyperfocal distance a third of the way up in the scene, something like that. Now, if you had a subject in the foreground, I would say focus on the subject in the foreground. Forget about hyperfocal. Forget about a third of the way up in the scene. Focus on the subject in the foreground, but use a small enough f-stop so you get more depth of field to get everything in focus. It's a nice shot. I like this. The color balance looks a little off, but I'm not really sure. Just doesn't look quite right to my colorblind eyes. But that doesn't mean it is. That's maybe that's, I don't know. But it's a nice shot. Nice look at the catch lights in his eyes and great focus. His eyes are really a nice focus. You can see this eye especially in really nice focus. Great catch lights. Very well done. This shot here is kind of an odd shot. We got a lot of blur like over in here, like this foreground, and this building in the back. So this is one, I think this is just too obscuring too much of the background. Really interesting clouds though. So this is another one where you got to work the scene. You really got to work the scene and try to get something that really shows off this very dramatic cloud bank that's coming in. That might be the last one. Yes, it is. Omar, thank you very much for sharing your work with us. Some very interesting photographs. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone that watches all my videos. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys have time, I'd really appreciate it if you went to YouTube and subscribed to my YouTube channel. And that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.